If y'all don't mind, can you scoot in just a little bit for me? Can y'all scoot in just a little bit for me? I know we social distancing. Just a little bit. Y'all want to? And my older ones, raise your hand. If you're the oldest ones in the group, please raise your hands. Raise your hands. Raise your hands. What's your age? 15, 16, 14, 15. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you an introduction, a little bit about myself, and then we're gonna jump into it. When I ask questions and when I ask for participation, I need you guys to be engaged. I need you guys to bring it, right? When I speak and when I work with different groups, I like to make it interactive because I don't want to just be barking at you guys the whole time because that's how people lose interest sometimes. So, as you just heard, I met Mr. Mozier at Afrocentric. I was working over there before, the pandemic hit, before the virus happened in the United States and across the globe. I was working there like every Mondays, working with the student council. We would do the Monday morning session, so I would help them come up with content to deliver to the students and just helping them become more confident with speaking and doing presentations and PowerPoints. I've been doing this since 2014. That's when I first started speaking, and I was just doing it for free, just volunteering because I realized I was kind of gifted at it. It wasn't really hard for me to do, came naturally. So it just turned into churches, leadership organizations, summer camps, all kind of stuff. And then God has been just blessing me with even more as I continue this journey. Before we start, can you give this man another round of applause because he helped? I'm raising money right now, and he made a very generous donation to that for meals in the community.
I want to say thank you for your contributions to meals in the community. So give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah, for sure. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Also, this young lady who's recording, it's my girlfriend, Tamia. Can y'all clap it up for her for taking her time out to come and help me? All right, so there is 3 main points that I'm going to cover today, all right? And I'm going to keep asking you guys what those points are so that I make sure it's getting drilled into your head. I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was preparing some material for today, I thought we were gonna have more older kids, but we'll make it work with what we have. So what that means is, for my older ones, I need you guys to be some of my leaders that I choose when I need help. Can y'all do that? Can you do that?
Yes.
Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? Okay. So, obviously, what are some of the things that we're going through right now in the world? If you can just raise your hand and just let me know, what are some things that we're going through? Yes, ma'am? Say it one more time for me.
Baby, I need you to speak up. I can't hear you.
We're going through coronavirus.
And we're going through Corona. Good job.
She said we're going through coronavirus and staying home. One thing I do is I always clap it up when somebody answers a question, so please clap it up for her. Thank you. What else are we going through right now? What else are we going through? Yes?
We're going through, people are being, some people are being racist, and they're trying to, help. They're trying to do, they're trying to protest for black people to have rights.
What's your name?
Carly.
Clap it up for Carly, please. Clap it up. That was a beautiful answer. Same thing you was going to say? All right. Anybody else? What we're going through right now in the world? Yes, sir.
People are getting sick because of the coronavirus and trying to stay safe.
Right. Clap it up for my man, please. Clap it up. Yes.
A lot of people are dying from the coronavirus.
Absolutely. A lot of people are dying from the coronavirus. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Anybody else? Anybody else? So the first point that we're going to cover is the importance of being aware, right? Socially, culturally aware of what is going on in the world today. So let me get 3 people. I need 3 people.
Come on, Nico.
Nico, come on.
Jordan.
Jordan.
Me?
Matter of fact, sorry guys, I need more than that. I think 5. No, I need 7. 1, 2, 3. I can't count. Hold on, y'all. I need 6. 6 people. Okay. You hold that one. You hold that one. You hold that one. You hold that one. You have that one. You have that one. Okay, everybody line up for me. Straight across. Oh, so, okay. When I asked you guys what we're going through in this world right now, you guys talked about racism, you guys talked about police killings, the coronavirus, people who are getting sick, people who are dying, right? Do y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Say, I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Okay, so what is this number right here? Somebody just yell it out for me.
269.
It's what?
269.
Do you see it?
2.69.
2.69 million, okay? 2.69 million. What is this number right here?
20.51 thousand.
20.51 thousand.
You're close. Without the thousand. Let's just say
20.50.
let's just say 20.5%. Okay? 20.5%, 2.69 million. And would you two step up? You two. My number. What do you guys think that this number represents? The 2.69 million. What do y'all think that represents? If y'all can just throw out some guesses. Huh? What does that represent? It has to do with what we're going through right now. 2.69 million. You're close. You're very close. You just got to take off one word. Yeah, so this is how many people, and I looked this up online. It just gave me like an updated, amount. It said it's 2.69 reported cases, okay, in the United States of coronavirus. Now, this number, this one may be a little bit more difficult for you guys to guess, but I want you guys to think about it. Think about what we just talked about. When y'all raised y'all's hands and gave me answers, what do y'all think this 20.5% represents?
The numbers of police have been killing.
Killing who specifically?
Us, black people.
Yes.
No.
Yes. This number represents the percentage-wise as of from since 2020 has began, the total fatal killings, right? The total amount of people that have been killed by cops. 20.5% of those people are what?
Dying.
More specifically, African American, right?
Yes.
So these two numbers, do y'all feel like these two numbers are alarming? Is this kind of scary to you guys? Does it stand out?
Yes.
Why does it stand out to you? What do you think? Why?
Because I'm scared if I'm gonna have one too.
You said it stands out to you because it's kind of scary that it may happen to you? Well, it ain't gonna happen to you. Y'all believe that it's not gonna happen to her, right? What's your name, sweetie? What is it? Celebrity? That's a beautiful name. Can y'all say celebrity? Say celebrity. It's not gonna happen to you. Say celebrity. You're gonna be fine. So we obviously just identified numbers. One has to do with the coronavirus. One has to do with the fatal killings of blacks in 2020 so far, right? Y'all still with me?
Yes.
You still with me? Okay. You two step back. Flip that up for me. Now, somebody read this name. Can y'all read that?
Robert Fuller.
Okay.
Malcolm Harsch.
Speak up, speak up, speak up.
Malcolm Harsch.
We have who?
Robert.
Speak up.
Robert Fuller. Malcolm.
American Harsch.
You're close. Somebody said the name already. Malcolm Harsch. What does this one say? Can y'all read that? Huh?
Dominique Alexander.
Okay, Dominique Alexander. And what does that say?
Unidentified man. Unidentified man.
Unidentified man, right? Okay. My name, step up names, step up names. What do y'all think these names represent? Now this one may be a little bit more difficult, but just take some guesses. What do y'all think these represent?
The ones who've been trying to help us.
Not quite.
African American children killed by police.
You're close. They weren't killed by the police. They were killed a different way.
By coronavirus.
What'd you say?
By coronavirus.
What'd you say?
Found by tree.
Yes, unfortunately, these are names of within, I think it was since May 25th of 2020, which was when George Floyd's murder occurred. That's what really set off the racial tension and people protesting in this country. Since that happened, it might have been even 5 people who were hanging from a tree. And this is real talk that we're gonna have today, guys, because it's what's going on in the world. Robert Fuller, turn that around for me. Can you read that? Oh no, speak up for me, speak up, speak up, speak up.
24 found hanging from a tree near the city. Okay.
City Hall
City Hall,
in Palmdale.
California, June 10th.
Robert Fuller, 24 years old, found hanging from a tree near City Hall in Palmdale, California. That happened June 10th. All right, what do you have?
38 found hanging from a tree in
Victorville.
Victorville, California on May 20th.
Malcolm Harsch, 38, found hanging from a tree in Victorville, California on May 31st. Dominique Alexander. Who is Dominique Alexander?
37
Dominique Alexander, 27 years old, found hanging from a tree in New York City on June 9th. And then we have an unidentified man.
Hanging from a tree in the shady grass, acres.
Now, this man was not African American. This was a Latino man that they found. He was, I don't think we have an age. It just says hanging from a tree in the Shady Acres neighborhood in Houston, Texas on June 15th. Okay? So the first thing we just identified are some issues, are some problems, are things that we have to know, right? And some of you younger ones, y'all may not be able to understand what we're talking about, but you guys are growing up in this world. These are things that you guys are going to have to talk about, face, analyze, discuss, report on, because it affects everybody here, all of us. And it still affects us, even the adults who are standing here talking to you, who are here with you, training, your parents. It affects us all. And so young people, if you guys can understand that awareness is very, very, very important. Understanding what's going on in the world is very important. And then for my young black men who are out here with me, we have to understand how to move too. Because we can't just move recklessly. We can't just go certain places. We can't wear certain things because of racial prejudices that have already been established about us. That's just the world that we live in. And so you guys are young. You're impressionable. But we want to give you guys a positive impression. We want to give you guys the awareness or the courage to be aware, because these are all things y'all need to know about. They're all things that y'all need to know about. What's the first problem that we talked about today? Somebody yell it out. Huh?
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus. Number 2, what was something else we talked about?
Police killing black people.
Okay, police killing black people.
Hanging from a tree.
And people being hung from trees, right? Typically, people being hung from trees, that kind of stuff happened back in the, 40s, 50s, like that's like older stuff, right? And so this was literally like a cycle. So first the virus hit, okay? And the police killings they've been going on. But what we saw, which was recorded, which went viral, was George Floyd being killed. We literally saw him take his last breath, right? So number 1, it was the virus, the coronavirus. Number 2, we saw the George Floyd killing, okay? Number 3, people began being hung from trees. And that's not a coincidence, young people. That's not a coincidence. And a couple of those who were hung from trees, I believe they were found near homeless camps, right? So they may have been homeless, so certain people may be getting targeted because they can't defend themselves, right? Does that make sense? So just by show of hands, before we wrap up part 1, why do y'all think it's important to understand what's going on in the world right now? My man.
So we can be safe.
So we can be safe? What's your name again?
David.
Clap it up for David, please. Thank you, brother David. Somebody else, why is it important to understand what's going on in the world?
So you won't be caught up in the wrong stuff.
So you won't get caught up in the wrong stuff? Okay, clap it up for Khalil. Anybody else? The importance of understanding what's going on in the world. To make a change? Okay. What's your name again?
Daria.
Daria. Clap it up for Daria. Clap it up for Daria. Thank you. We'll do one more person, then we'll move on to part 2. Why is it important to understand what's going on in the world?
Because a lot of people are dying because of the coronavirus, and we need to help people that don't have a home.
Yes, I love that. Say that for me one more time. Yell it out louder, please.
A lot of people are dying from the coronavirus. Homeless people don't have a home, so they need shelter.
Good. What's your name?
John.
Clap it up for John. Clap it up for John. And clap it up for my volunteers once again. Y'all can take a seat. Y'all can take a seat. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Now, I told you guys we would be covering 3 parts. 3 parts today, okay? And I felt like it was only appropriate if we talked about these 3 things because of the climate and the things that we're going through right now in the country. So number 1, we talked about being aware. We talked about what's actually going on. And number 2, which is equally as important and something we have to do, is adjust. It's being flexible in the things that you do, okay? Now, some of you may not understand what I mean when I say flexibility or adjusting, but I'm going to give you guys an analogy. You guys all are track runners, right? Raise your hand if you're a track runner. Put your left hand up if you're a track runner. Put your right hand up if you're a track runner. Put both hands up if you're a track runner. Okay, hands down. So you guys understand the importance of stretching and being flexible, right? Why is it important to stretch and to be flexible? Yes, sir.
So can run better.
So you can run better? David? Okay, clap it up for David. Clap it up for David, please. Thank you, sir. Yes.
So we can't. So we can't just lay down and just be laying down and eating stuff and not getting up.
What's your name again?
Celebrity.
Celebrity. Clap it up for celebrity. Clap it up for celebrity.
Being
John.
healthy.
You're John, right?
Yeah, being healthy and exercising every day.
Good. Clap it up for John. Clap it up for John. Anybody else? The importance of being flexible. Yes.
It's because it's like if you're not flexible and like you need to do like a stretch that is pretty hard for you because you're not as flexible, you can't really do it, and you might get cramps while you're running.
Good. What's your name again?
Carly.
Clap it up for Carly, folks. Clap it up for Carly. Okay. How can I explain this, guys? I go to the gym, okay? Right? You understand that? You go to the gym to work out and stuff like that, right? Typically, before you work out, you stretch, right? You stretch because it gives you more range of motion, right? So if I'm stretching out, I don't know, my shoulders or my biceps or something, I'm stretching my arm so that I can get more range of motion, right? So that I can do more things without hurting myself. And I want you guys to think about this. I'm going to translate our exercise, us working out, into us being flexible in our lives, because this is something I had to adjust to throughout this whole journey, right? And so if I'm not flexible, specifically with speaking, think about it, stay with me. If I'm not flexible in my speaking or how I'm going to deliver it, because obviously we can't do a bunch of group settings like this now, right? Because of the virus, they don't want a bunch of people together. If I'm not flexible in my approach, if I'm not willing to change the way I'm doing things, then I'm going to get left behind. And so you guys may have had an idea or something that you wanted to work on, some of my older ones, a dream, a goal, something you wanted to be a part of, right? And it could have gotten changed or altered or eliminated, okay, because of the coronavirus, because of the times that we're in. But that's why we have to be what? What's the F word I just talked about?
Flexible.
Say it louder, Carly.
Flexible.
Flexible, right? It allows you to do more things. And so ultimately what I'm saying is that I don't want you guys to limit yourself into just one area. And if you are flexible, then you will have more range of motion with the things that you can do in your life. For example, I have never, before the coronavirus hit, I never did any teachings virtually. I never did any speaking virtually. I never did any of that kind of stuff. Right? Y'all know what Bible study is? I have to do Bible studies on a computer, working at home. So things change. But if you're able to adapt, you can still be effective with what it is you want to do. Think about grocery stores. Think about Amazon. Think about DoorDash. A lot of these places that were once open, they had to adapt to what was going on right now, right? To still be successful, to still be profitable, to still make an impact. So a lot of them are doing online services only. A lot of them are delivering. A lot of them have changed their hours because they had to adapt to the times that we're in. And for my older ones, this is something that you guys will see as life goes on. If you're not willing to adapt, if you're not flexible in your approach, if you're not flexible in your thinking with things, you will get left behind and you will not be effective. Because one thing we know about life is that life is very, very unpredictable. Things can change like that. Things can change at the drop of a dime. Why is it important to be flexible? Somebody answer that for me, please. Flexible.
Fit and healthy.
To be fit and healthy? What's your name?
London.
London. Clap it up for London. Thank you, London. Thank you.
Get stronger.
To get stronger? Okay. What's your name? Lincoln. Clap it up for Lincoln, please. Thank you, brother Lincoln. Anybody else? Anybody else? Important. What about you? Why is it important to be flexible? To be able to adapt to different things. If something doesn't work out, you won't be stuck. That's very good. Khalil, right? Clap it up for Khalil, please. I want you guys to think about a chameleon. Y'all know what a chameleon is? The animal, the chameleon? In order for the chameleon to survive and to continue going, the chameleon likes to adapt to its environment. So if I'm in like some grassy environment, the chameleon turns what? Green. If I'm like in, I don't know, a bluish environment or a watery environment, I'm going to turn what? Blue. You get what I'm saying? The chameleon adapts depending on what environment it's in. Okay? Repeat after me. I will.
I will.
I will.
I will.
Adapt.
Adapt.
When things happen.
When things happen.
My goals.
My goals.
My dreams.
My dreams.
Will still be effective. Now clap it up for yourselves, please. Young people, stand up for me real quick. We're moving on to part 3. Young people, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Y'all not tired yet. Stand up, stand up.
That's y'all. Stand up. Stand up.
You ain't going yet. I'm just loosening you up. Put your right arm up. Put your left arm up. Put both arms down. Wiggle your right arm. Wiggle your left arm. Put your right leg up. Put your left leg up. Put both legs up. Yeah, I'm gonna teach you about trying to do that. Put your right arm up. Put your left arm down. Left arm up. Right arm down. Both arms out. Both arms down. Right leg out. Out to the side. Left leg out front. Left leg out to the side. Now sit down. I just wanted to loosen you up for a little bit. Okay, we're moving on to part 3, which is, this is going to be the most serious topic or part of this session that we're going to talk about today. For you older ones, I'm going to read something that is disturbing, but I believe it needs to be read in order for us to have a plan so that we can continue to make an impact, or we can come up with some idea of what we can do during all this chaos that's going on. Have any of you, for my older ones, because I know the younger ones probably haven't, for the older ones, have y'all heard of, it's a speech called The Making of a Slave? Have y'all ever heard about it? Do you have anything you can share about it that you know? Okay. Anybody else? The older ones? Y'all have ever heard of that? The Making of a Slave is a speech. Well, I believe if I'm going to come here today, like, I want to be real with you guys. And so I would be doing you all a disservice if I didn't read this to you guys. And if we're going to flip some words in this thing so that we can come up with a plan of action, so that we can be a part of the solution and not the problem. Now, what I'm going to read to you guys is disturbing. But these are the things that we have to read to understand how we can move forward. Y'all believe that? Yeah. Say I believe that.
I believe that.
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 Give me a little bit more.
I believe that.
Celebrity, come on. Say it again.
I believe that.
All right. So, I'm going to read this to you guys. It'll probably take me maybe a minute and 30 seconds or something to read it. Try to just listen in for some key things. It's going to be disturbing, but I want you guys to hear this. The following is the introduction to a speech said to have been delivered by Willie Lynch on the bank of the James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. This was in the year 1712. Lynch, and I believe that's where lynching came from. I think it came from his last name, which is like when you lynch people, hang people. Lynch is said to have been a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to owners of enslaved Africans there. And now the speech begins. Gentlemen, I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experience with some of the newest and still the oldest methods of controlling slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its highway in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings. That's when like the slaves get mad, rebel, fight back. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit, and you suffer occasional fires, and your animals are killed. Then he says, gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. I'm here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. At least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. Then he says, at the top of my list is age, but it's only there because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantations and their status on plantations, attitude of the owners, whether the slave lives in a valley, on a hill, east, west, north, or south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. So now he's talking about this is the action. This is what you have to do to control your slaves, to make a slave, to make somebody mentally believe that they're a slave. He says, distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, and here we go, you must pitch the old black male against the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. So put them against each other, make them hate each other. He said you must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all black slaves. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend only on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Then he says, gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and your children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, he says, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. Can y'all clap it up for me for reading that? Because my throat is all dry now. All right. What are some things that stood out to you guys? Anything stand out to y'all? So this is a slave owner telling other slave owners how to control a slave, how to mentally make somebody believe they're a slave. And some words stuck out in there. Did any of those words stick out to you guys?
It says like, they say like make the black people, all different shades of black people fight, like the light skins and the dark skins fight, and the male and the female fight.
Yes. Clap it up for Carly again, please, y'all. So one of the things was like colorism, which is like, you know, making like people who are different shades of black, or if you're a different gender, male, female, dislike each other, hate each other. That's one of the ways that he used to control. What's another way? It starts with an F. It starts with an F. It's a 4-letter word. F-E-A-R. What is that? Fear. Okay. There was another word. Do y'all know what distrust is? Distrust. It's the opposite of trusting somebody, right?
I don't trust.
And lastly, he said envy. Y'all know what envy is?
No.
One of my older ones. You know what envy is? You know what envy is? Like to envy something, to envy somebody or something. Like to kind of be jealous of somebody because they have something. Like they have a title or clothes or shoes or car. Like you're just jealous of them basically. So what we see, and Carly, come here. So what are the words I just pointed out to you guys? What's the first word, the F word? Okay, what was the D word? Distrust. And then we have envy, right? Which is like basically being jealous. Hold that for me, please. So what we see is this is a part of the problem in America now, guys. Okay? So he planted these seeds in America. This was in 1712, okay? Right? This was in 1712. What year is it now? What year is it now? What year is it now? It's 2020. And so this hateful idea, this idea that I'm better than somebody else, this idea that black lives don't matter, this idea that you can make somebody a slave has literally been ingrained and grown and manifested itself in the very fabric that makes up this country. Does that make sense? So what we have to understand is it's our time, young people, to do something about it. And so a formula for doing that is doing the opposite of what he said is a way to make a slave. So what's the opposite of fear? Starts with an F. Huh? Yes, what's your name? Carnell, clap it up for Carnell. Clap it up for Carnell, please. Faith, okay. What is the opposite of distrust, of not trusting somebody? The opposite of that is what? Trust, okay. What is the opposite of being jealous of somebody, of being envious of somebody? Huh? Yeah, being glad for them, having admiration for somebody. What's your name? Clap it up for Brother Lincoln again, please. So, if I can use faith, if I can use trust, if I can use admiration, if I can be glad for other people, do y'all think that that could be a formula for you young people to do something, like even in these times now? Do y'all feel like y'all are too young to do something about what's going on now?
No.
No? You feel like you are? If you don't feel like you're too young to do something, or to start something, or to stand for something, raise your hand. If you feel like you can do it, raise your hand. And I want you guys to be honest with me. Okay, hands down. So we literally, and read those words for me, sweetie, if you can. And read them loud, Carly.
Fear.
No, that's it.
Oh, faith, trust,
Admiration.
teamwork.
Just stop there. Say it again for me louder.
Faith, trust,
Admiration. admiration,
teamwork.
and teamwork. Okay, there's an African proverb that says, if I want to move fast, move alone. If I want to move forward, move together. Okay, teamwork is the last point that we just added on there. And so since y'all just raised y'all's hands and said y'all don't feel like y'all are too young to start something, to stand for something, to do something, if y'all collectively came together, even as young as you are, y'all could really make a difference. And one thing I had to realize, because y'all see people protesting and stuff, right? Y'all see people protesting. One thing I realized, and I was on a Bible study call a few weeks ago, somebody from my church mentioned this. She said, you know, a lot of people are trying to figure out how they can fit in, right? How they can help, how they can stand for something, right? It doesn't have to be in a form of a protest to make a difference. So her and her daughter had went down and was protesting, but she realized that she was better off just giving people water or giving people hand sanitizer or providing people with masks. So there are different ways that you guys can be involved. There's different ways that you guys can make a difference. It all doesn't have to look the same. But collectively, you and you and you and you and you and you and you, y'all all have different gifts and different things that you can contribute. And if y'all want to stand for something, if y'all want to make a difference, y'all can do it. You're not too young to do it. I wish somebody would have told me these things when I was y'all's age. Now I'm probably like twice y'all's age, but if I would have known these things, I could have gotten started way earlier in my life. Don't ever let somebody tell you guys that you guys are too young to start something, to have an idea, to have a dream, to have a business, to have a goal, because you're not. And another thing that y'all have to realize, and I'm gonna just say this because I feel led to say it. When God created you guys, He created you guys powerful, right? Y'all have gifts, you have power, you have things that you are here to deliver. And so if you can believe that in your mind, you can literally do anything that you put your mind to. You can literally do anything you put your mind to. But y'all have to believe that first. We just came up with a recipe, teamwork, admiration, trust, faith, for you guys to come up with something or to stand for something. Or to learn more about police brutality or segregation or protests or ways to make a difference. We just came up with a recipe. And so from this point forward, it's up to you guys to do something about it. You're not too young. You're definitely capable. You're definitely gifted. But it's up to you guys. Y'all believe that?
Yes.
Y'all sure?
Yes.
Say Nate.
Nate.
Say Nate.
Nate.
I believe that.
I believe that.
Stand up for me, everybody. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Carly, stay up here. Let me have that. By show of hands, give me 2 things that y'all learned today. 2 things. Anybody can go. Yes, ma'am.
That it doesn't matter how old are you, you can always make the world better.
Good job, Carly. Give me one more.
That you can help people. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are, but you can help the world be better.
Yes. Clap it up for Carly, please. Clap it up for Carly. Thank you, thank you. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Naisha.
Naisha. 2 things.
You can help people. You can help people be safe and be kind, and you can let people help you and not be rich.
So let people help you as well as help people and be kind to other people. What'd you say your name was?
Naisha.
Clap it up for Naisha. Clap it up for Naisha, please. Anybody else? 2 things y'all learned. I need some of my older ones to answer too. Yes, celebrity.
That you're not too old to help the world,
Give me one more.
and to trust that you are powerful.
Yes, you're not too young to help the world and to trust that you're powerful and to know that you're powerful, right? Clap it up for celebrity, please. That was very good. Very good. So, my man back there, give me 2 things that you learned today, please.
I learned that they already have said it. That
What?
Yeah, you can repeat it.
at any age, when you're capable of anything.
Okay. Give me one more.
Racism is not right.
Good. You said at any age you can do anything and that racism is not right. What's your name?
Terry.
Terry? Clap it up for Terry, please. Thank you. Anybody else? 2 things that y'all learn. 2 things that you learn. Scream that out for me one more time. Scream that for now.
It doesn't matter what people think about you, and God made you powerful.
It doesn't matter what people think about you, which is very good. I wish I would have touched on that more today. And that God made you guys powerful. Can y'all clap it up for Carnell, please? Carnell, right? Okay. Anybody else? 2 things that y'all learned. 2 things. 2 things. Yep, John.
It doesn't matter where you are and what you're doing, you always stand up for somebody.
So it doesn't matter. You said what you're doing or where you are. You always stand up for somebody. You got one more for me?
Help, and be nice, and don't disrespect your parents.
You said help, be nice, and don't disrespect who?
Your parents.
Don't, hey, true that. Don't disrespect your parents. Clap it up for John. Clap it up for John. What's your hand raised?
Stay flexible.
Okay, stay flexible. Give me one more.
Everyone else already.
You can repeat it. You can repeat
That you're not too young.
it. You said stay flexible and that you're not too young to make a difference. What's your name?
Aubrey.
Clap it up for Aubrey. Clap it up for Aubrey, please. All right, Carly, do you want to be one of my volunteers?
Yes, please.
Okay, can I get 3 more? Celebrity, come on, your hand was up. Coach, I'll let you choose 2 more. Matter of fact, if you want to be a volunteer, raise your hand. Okay, I'm not gonna not let you. Come on. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm very big on like speaking life and affirmations, and the words that you speak, they affect your life. So what you guys are gonna do, you're gonna come up with one positive word based on what we talked about today. You're gonna come up with one positive word, one positive word, one positive word. So it can be help, it can be dream, it can be love, it can be fight, it can be whatever, okay? One word. We're gonna go down in the line. So you'll start, you'll say your word, your word, your word, your word, your word, your word, your word. But as they say them, you guys are gonna repeat the word. So if somebody says, give me an example.
Black power.
Loud.
If she says black power, you guys need to say what?
Black power.
Y'all better be loud.
Yeah, I need y'all, come on, wake up.
Black power.
Oh, there you go. So I'll give you guys 10 seconds. Just think about a positive word, one positive word.
Have another one in case somebody else says one.
Yeah.
Think about
Based on what we talked about today. And I want you guys to be loud, be confident with it, yes.
Yourself, be yourself, and don't let anybody say you're too young to be working like God made you.
Okay, good. Can you save that for me for just a second? Give me that same thing in just a second, okay? What about it? Hold up. We gotta go in the line, guys. Oh, we gotta go in the line. Y'all know what I'm saying? You'll go, then you'll go, you'll go, you'll go. We gotta sound good though.
You ready? You ready?
And I need you
you
to
ready?
project your voice.
Ready?
Speak loud
Ready,
and
Carl?
confidently.
All right, you ready? All right, get ready.
Y'all ready? Y'all sure? Hey, from the back, can we give them, as a group, can y'all get them like a countdown? Like 3, 2, 1, and then they'll start. Remember, they'll say the word, you guys say the word. They'll say the word, you guys say it. Y'all got it?
Yes.
Y'all sure, parents? Coaches?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
can we give them a countdown, please?
3, 2, 1.
Be brave.
Be
Be
brave.
brave.
Be flexible.
Be flexible.
Stand up for your friends.
Stand up for your friends.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Black power.
Black power. Be helpful.
Right.
Be right.
Be right. Be right.
What'd you say you guys said to
Have
them?
faith.
Have faith. Just clap it up for them, please. Clap it up for my volunteers. How y'all feel y'all did?
Good.
Y'all did good?
Yes.
Hey, clap it up for yourselves, please. Y'all did good. Take a seat for me. Take a seat for me, folks. Did y'all enjoy it today?
Yes.
Y'all sure? Y'all don't gotta lie to me just to make me feel good. Y'all enjoy it?
Yes.
If you enjoyed it, raise your left hand. Your left. Do you left? Okay, hands down. Do y'all have any questions for me? You can ask me anything.
Why are we talking? I'm scared.
I used to play. I played like my whole life. I stopped playing in college. I went to Eastmore Academy. I went to Northland for a couple years. Played ball at Capitol for a little bit. Huh? I played when I was younger. I stopped playing. Where y'all? What y'all repping?
I went to Brookhaven, man.
Oh, you from the Hayes?
You know what it is.
You went to Brookhaven?
Man, you Brookhaven, man.
I went to North
Brookhaven too.
I went to Brookhaven. I graduated from Red. But I read Brookhaven.
Hey. Respect. Any other questions?
Do you play football or gymnastics?
I mean, I'm not like really play it, but I'll.
How about ask Nate if he does the workout with us today? Somebody ask Nate if he's doing a workout with us?
How about I come back another time?
There we go. There we go.
Y'all want me to come back another time?
Yes.
I can come in.
So maybe y'all can since he had the opportunity to share some things with y'all, I think he earned the opportunity for you guys to share some things with him. So
Yeah.
next time he comes back, he'll hump in our group stuff. He'll do everything we do as
Awesome.
well. All
Can
right?
y'all do that?
Yeah.
Y'all learn from me so I can learn from y'all, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Hey, for the last time, please give Nate a round of applause, okay? All right. Okay, when he gets back, he's going to have some running shoes on. He needs to bring water. Make sure you get your insurance and everything signed up as well. All right, for Capital City Common folks, we're going to start at the bottom of the hill. Everybody.